Welcome, everybody, to End of Life Conversations Weekly Dispatch. I am Sam Zemke, your editor and firekeeper today. Let's call it that.
Yes, the firekeeper.
Yeah, I'm the
Ooh,
firekeeper today.
I
I've
like
got
I
a
that.
little
love that.
candle.
Ah,
And speaking of fire, first, let's just acknowledge the fires around the world that
Yeah.
are causing
mhm.
untold death, destruction,
Suffering.
change. Wakil, you were mentioning just before that your kids who are farming can't farm
Yeah.
Mhm.
right now because of the smoke.
Yeah.
And to farm in full respirators is a uniquely dystopian reality that we
Isn't it?
now face.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And new normal. I mean,
New normal.
I grew up in this part in Seattle area. We never saw anything like we've seen in the last every year, the last 3 or 4 years. There's been
Mhm.
at least a few days where it's unhealthy to be outside
Mhm.
from forest
Yeah.
fires, and that's just a new normal. Not a good normal, but it's the way the
Mhm.
It's
world
the new
is. And
normal.
yeah,
Yeah.
so that's a good thing to acknowledge first off.
Yeah. But also sort of a red herring because that's not what we're diving into today. We're talking about a different kind of fire in the mountains.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fire in the Mountains that we're talking about today is a music festival that I've been going to for many years.
Mhm.
Started out in outside of Teton
Missoula?
National Park.
Oh.
Teton
Mhm.
National
Mhm.
Park, just south, and outside of Jackson Hole, Wyoming. And I haven't been going from the beginning, but the main sort of impetus was enjoying heavy music and ecology at the same time.
Yeah.
So there is connection here because it
Mhm.
is an
Mhm.
environmentally centered music festival,
Yeah.
and part of what has grown out of that, especially now, is the capacity for heavy music to aid in the grief process,
Mhm.
the healing process, catharsis, and understanding that one is not alone
Mhm.
in the difficult feelings of life.
Mhm.
And currently, this festival is happening this coming weekend
Yeah.
Late
on
July,
the
right?
yep, whatever that date is. I'm not looking at it. Click around.
24th, maybe? 24th,
The 24th through the 26th,
Yeah.
27th.
Yep.
Yeah. Of July. Yeah.
It is now hosted on the Blackfeet Reservation in
Mhm.
East Glacier, Montana. And that process of partnering with the Blackfeet Nation has shifted and expanded this project in a way that absolutely makes sense given the trajectory that started.
Mhm.
Um, you get a bunch of emotionally intelligent metalheads who are ritually oriented, ecologically oriented, um, and countercultural,
Mm.
and you're very likely going to start dialogue with Indigenous peoples
Mm. Yeah.
and counter to maybe the prevailing narrative or a historical trend of heavy metal being associated with, say, like nationalist movements and white supremacy. That's shifting in a really huge way,
Hmm.
Oh, good.
and in many ways has become much more decolonial and liberatory,
Hey.
which I think makes a lot of sense and is great because I like that music and I love not having to look up as diligently every band I listen to make sure that they're not Nazis.
That's right. That's right.
So
Always an important thing to check. Yeah.
always an
With
important thing to
everything,
check.
all of our movies and everything these
Right.
days, I'm like,
Right. And so
Ah.
so in this partnership with the Blackfeet Nation, um, arose a nonprofit that the festival folks and the community members they were talking with and some Scandinavian nonprofits
Mm.
that were partnering to help support this festival. And they have created a nonprofit called the Firekeeper Alliance,
Mm.
Huh.
which is focused on mental health and suicide prevention on the reservations
Mm.
because that is a
Ah,
huge, huge issue.
Huge.
wow. That's
Yeah.
so important.
Um, and particularly youth suicide prevention.
Mhm.
And a lot of it is through music programs. They're having well-renowned heavy metal musicians come to the schools and do music programming.
Mhm.
Last year, they had internships in almost every position at the festival where local youth were shadowing and interning and learning the tools of the trade and seeing what it could be like to have uh, vital, enlivening, and active things going on in their community.
Nice.
Really, really beautiful project.
Yeah, yeah,
You can find out more information about that at firekeeperalliance.org and donate to them, which I would encourage everyone to do.
yeah. We'll
Yeah.
add that
Um,
to our notes.
Yeah.
yeah, and they have all the amazing information there, their approaches, I'll just read off a little bit, indigenize clinical constructs regarding suicidal distress, traditional healing practices, strengths-based counseling interventions, creative outlets and protective factors, clinical support and professional development, and culturally inclusive post-vention initiatives. And that's just, those are the headlines.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Um,
Wow.
so I don't really know where the dialogue comes from here today with us, but it felt really important to one, shout out this project
Mhm.
that I deeply, deeply believe in,
Yeah,
and and especially last year, which was the first year
The reservation.
on the reservation,
Mhm.
not only was there this focus on grief. They do workshops during the day, and
mm,
there were panels about, people, survivors of suicide, survivors of
uh,
like friends who had committed suicide, and how music had helped them process, and how music had helped them avoid their own um, uh, terminal
hmm,
impulses.
mhm,
Mhm.
mhm,
Mhm.
And talking about cultural revival, cultural connection as medicine to stave off that level of despair. And
yeah,
then massive levels of cultural exchange.
yeah.
You have all of these white metalheads and like Scandinavian people, like neo folk, neo pagan, folk musicians coming and doing ceremony and
Hmm.
exchanging gifts across cultural boundaries.
Mhm.
Amazing, amazing work to knit communities together,
Yeah,
to expand, cultural connections, kinship relations, and just like support networks. Just amazing. I can't laud it
Yeah.
enough. Um, so I
Well,
have talked. Yeah,
I'm gonna
please
I'm
go
gonna
ahead.
jump in because I've
Please.
just been listening to you, and I want to go do this next year with you because I would love to experience this. And I also want to acknowledge that there are there are so many deaths that occur on a daily basis in our world, and when we think that we're not intersecting with death on the daily, like, then we're not really having our eyes open.
yeah,
And the fact that we do have a high statistical rate of suicide on reservations, but everywhere, right? Like, people are having a hard time for a
yeah,
myriad of reasons. So I would hope that people can hear this podcast and think about the different communities that they know or interact with, and be on the lookout for how can I help out with these
Yeah. Yeah.
conversations with youth, with LGBTQ, POC, poverty. Like there's so many disabled people who are just so fed up with these things. We have so much community right around us who like we need fire in the mountains, a music
Yeah.
event
Yeah.
that we could just like dance until we have all that grief just kind of like out for the collective container to like witness and figure out a way to compost, right? It's
Yeah. Yeah.
so
Exactly.
so I hope people get curious and write us about other events that are similar to this because this
Yeah.
isn't the only one. This is just
Right.
like a cool one for
That's
for
pretty
some of
cool.
us. Yeah.
For some of us, yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
but yeah, so please, if you know of a different one, let us
Let
know.
us
We can
know.
put it on
Yeah.
our resources.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, and
Exactly.
especially
We should
like the
definitely add this one
more
to it. Yeah.
yeah, the
Mhm.
more unconventional, like maybe
Yeah.
not the better, but like
It's so
not a
important.
lot of people
Yeah. Those are the
when
ones that
you
need to
say
be
like
served.
heavy metal helps my mental health, people
Mhm.
go,
Right.
I'm in a ministry training
Right.
currently learning,
Yeah.
to do
Right.
um Shirag Sufi ministry and studying with one of the preeminent sort of Sufi oriented grief counselors and funeral directors. And I said, this is a thing where, I can engage with the crunchy shadow,
Mhm.
side of things. And he went, I cannot relate with you at all, any way, shape,
Yeah.
or form. And so I made, in that process, made a playlist of some music to share with my cohort in
I
this.
love it. I
I
love
wrote
it.
down some music after you told me about this months ago. I actually went through and listened to clips, and in
Yeah.
my little notebook, I have my little list that I want to actually create a playlist for. So maybe I'll do that
Ah,
this
Yeah.
weekend to
wonderful.
pretend I'm there
Yeah.
That would be fun. There are some playlists on whatever
on
streaming
the
service you
website.
use.
Yeah.
No,
Oh,
I think through the streaming services, if you
okay.
search FITM 2026, it'll have some samples
Oh,
Spotify.
from
good.
Yeah. Send that to me so I can put it in the notes.
Yeah.
in the
Tell me,
show
tell me
And
notes.
the
a
FIT. What's the
fire in the mountain.
website again?
Yeah.
Fire.
The website is fitmfest.com or firekeeperalliance.org.
Okay.
Yeah, those are the two.
Okay. We'll put both those in. But yeah,
Yeah.
if you want to
Um,
send me a list of a
a
connection
playlist.
to
Yeah.
a playlist, that would be fun to put in there for folks. So
It
Yeah.
would be
yeah.
fun, and I realize that heavy metal is not everybody like, it's not for everybody, and that's okay too. There's no judgment, and you don't have to like this. But if you have a kid who might be interested
Right.
or an
Or
elder
friend. Yeah.
who's like, I used to dig this music in the 70s. I actually went hiking recently about 2 months ago, and I happened to notice somebody was wearing like a Leonard Skinner or something T-shirt. I don't remember actually, don't quote me on that one, but I mentioned
Something.
I mentioned Fire in the Mountain, and I have to tell you, very white presenting, brawny kinda dude hiking by himself with his T-shirt, and I was like, "I wanna connect with you about music."
Mm.
Mhm.
Because, and my friend he's like, "I would never have imagined you would even, like, strike a conversation with that dude." And I was like, "True." And what I want to have recognized is that it's not just white men who like this music,
Mhm.
Absolutely.
and, and I want him to always think like, "Oh, like this brown woman also we could talk about this music." So, it's part of relationship building, right? Like in the world,
Exactly.
Right.
because I don't want there to be like, there's no way a white Latina could possibly enjoy this music, which is like the furthest from the truth.
Right.
But what I really enjoyed is that his one of his initial statements was like, "No good, metal music is being made anymore." And I was like, "Excuse me." And I said this, so forgive me, but I was like, "Are you some kind of a boomer?" I was like, "What is your
Hey, hey,
problem?" I
I
know, but
resemble that statement.
I agree. I know. But he was like in his like early 30s, and I was like, you know, boomers tend to not want to hear anything different and say that the only good stuff is from their formative years. I'm like, if
Of
that's your
course.
languaging, I was like, then you must be really old. And he's like, no, no. I was like, well, then I think you should probably explore some new music, my dude.
Yeah.
So, so it was a both in like connecting and
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
like be curious because honestly, when you're curious, you learn more things and hopefully you become less like stilted and constricted and like no, no, no,
Rigid.
you know. So,
Yeah, yeah.
anyways, I'm
Well,
excited.
It's also a lesson about not making assumptions, right?
absolutely.
Oh, for me or
Yeah.
for him?
Well, for you, or for anybody, but, I mean, this happened yesterday. We were doing our booth. We have a grief booth that we do at a farmer's market, and we were doing the booth, and this guy walks by, and he's like, I won't talk about what he looked like or what it was, but it was just like the last person I would have expected to turn around and go, "I have a story I wanna share with you guys." And it
Uh-huh.
Mm.
just blew my mind. I was like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, don't assume
Don't
anything."
assume.
Yeah.
Well,
Mm.
the
So,
assumption that wasn't an assumption when he said good metal isn't being made anymore, then I
yeah,
was
yeah.
like, that is such an old fogey kind of attitude. Like,
Right.
I
Yeah.
didn't have to say boomer. I just had to say, like, how old are you, man? Because that's not what young people say. We're always like on the lookout for like, what's new? What's spicy out there?
And
Yeah.
Anyhow,
some of us boomers are too, dang it.
I know,
Oh
babes.
my
I
gosh.
know.
I
I
mean,
know.
yeah. No assumptions. That's the lesson, right? And, we have elders in this community.
Mhm.
Mhm.
There are people from, like, the 1st and 2nd generations of black metal who
Mm.
are, like,
Cool.
here supporting. We have, one of my friends likes to tell a dad joke that one of them told him. Um, and, that guy
The
brought
sure
his little
sign.
synth setup and said, "I'm going to play my, weird synthetic experimental music for you today, and I hope you have a
Ah,
really good time." And it was a blast.
love it.
So another thing I would say briefly, it's not just metal, but it is focused on, like, the heavier side of things. This year, there's a huge focus on sort of like, dark country and dark Americana.
What?
Mm.
So
Cool.
there's a reunion of a classic band called 16 Horsepower,
Oh, yeah.
um,
I actually know that.
and a bunch of other bands like that that will be playing.
Cool.
Last year, it was very, like, neo-folk focused, so it
Mm.
rotates through, and 'cause it was just great for me because I get tired of black metal
Yeah.
after a while. I'll admit this, it's not my,
You
like,
take a
favorite thing.
dose and then you're
I
like,
take a
"Okay."
dose, or, it's on the Two Medicine Lake, sacred space, and there's, like, 100 yards of forest in between the stages and the lake, and when I get my dose, I go sit in the lake, and it sounds phenomenal from that far away.
Yeah.
Um, but the other thing, what I wanted to talk about, or what I was inspired by when Ana Luisa, you were talking about, it's not just something that, like, white Americans or Euro descent people like.
Mm.
Um, One of the huge pieces of this festival is spotlighting people of color. And last year they flew in a band called Zompantli, which is a Mesoamerican
Mm,
death metal band from South
cool.
America or Central America. This year, there's another one. They spotlight a lot of native metal bands, which is a growing genre.
Mm.
And and what that says to me, and I love world music, and so I explore where around the world these genres are blossoming.
Mm.
Mhm.
And I think similar to hip hop and rap, metal provides a really unique way to
Mhm.
process what's going on, and
Hmm.
and becomes sort of a universal language that can incorporate the cultural qualities and specificities and unique um, experiences from different places.
Mhm.
And that also provides a common language for people to relate and connect and process together
Mhm.
and see reflected experience in, like, it's not just like, I see these other people that look like me who
Right.
are who are experiencing the same feelings.
Yeah.
It's also like people around the world,
Yeah.
Right. Cross-pollination.
cross-pollination.
Yeah.
All of these people feel the heaviness of the world and
Mhm.
Mhm.
express it
Mhm.
in a common language with different accents.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I
Love
love
it.
that. I think it's really
Yay.
wonderful too that you're talking about, did you say, Swiss? people, or no, Scandinavian people,
various places.
because that's, that's yet another Indigenous likely connection to the Indigenous, or many of us who
Mhm.
live in the United States now.
Mhm.
And so I love that that's a part of it too. And probably,
Mhm.
as you say, it is worldwide, and it does go down to that very deep cultural uh, connection in every one of us to our grief for the world, our grief for losses in general,
Right.
and another way to express that. I love it. I love it.
Yeah,
So
I do too.
thank you for bringing that to us.
Yeah, and
Bring
that was
pictures.
a yes. That was a whole part of the dialogue last year, and part of what helped me feel like, oh, this is a place where my particular desire in ministry and cultural reconstruction
Hmm.
and utilizing ancestral connection to build those connections and subvert white supremacism and white supremacist systems, not only in the community but more broadly too.
Yeah.
There's I remember I was listening to a podcast about um the German Volkisch movement during the Nazi era,
Mm.
and how those folks became really obsessed with how the Germanic tribes had successfully fought off the Roman Empire.
Mm.
Mm.
But instead of taking that opportunity to say, look, we can be in solidarity and we connect with peoples around the world who have been resisting colonization and imperialist control, they said, yeah, but we'd actually rather become the Roman Empire. So there's a
Right.
total missed opportunity
Right.
to connect with the rest of the world. And I see it
Mhm.
functioning in that way when we recognize that there are places where all of us at some point in our in our genetic lineage, in the love that has created our ancestors and our bodies, there is an understanding, a shared understanding of being part of the planet,
Hmm.
Mhm.
being part of the cycles of life and death,
Mhm.
being not apart. And
Yeah.
I think that's such a powerful, powerful medicine.
Mm. Yeah. I love it. I love this just as another example of you can get there from many, many directions, right? As
That's
long as
right.
you get
Yep.
there.
Yep,
Yep.
as long as you're on your journey.
Thank you, Sam. That was really, really
Yes.
cool, really important.
So, yeah.
So we'll look forward to everybody check it out, even if you're a
Yeah.
boomer.
Yep.
Even if you're a
Oh, come
boomer.
on, not even. Everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone.
If you won't check it out, you're a boomer.
Mm.
No
There's
labels, no labels.
I'm
there's
kidding, I'm
probably
I
kidding.
know, I know.
still, if you listen to this today and you go, damn, I really want to go to this, I'm pretty sure there are still tickets.
Yeah,
Go.
yeah,
Go,
I
yeah,
love
And
it,
if not
I
this
sign
love
up
it.
for
year, go
next year.
next
Next
year.
year, next year
Next
I'll
year,
meet
I
you
know
Yeah.
there.
Lisa's going, so
I'm
you're
going next
definitely
year.
gonna
Yeah.
go
I
next
have
year.
tickets to the Underground Music Showcase this year, so I will be 3 days of musicking myself this weekend.
Hey, all right.
Wonderful.
All right. Thank you so much. Again, everybody, thanks for watching and participating with us. Please check in with us on our Substack, subscribe on Substack, and we have a chat going on, ongoing chat there. Please come on, tell us what you think and what you'd like to talk about, and like us and tell all your friends. And thanks again. See
Yeah.
you next
Thank
time.
you. Y adios.
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 Grief and loss, conversations about the end of life.